What's up everyone, P3D Heem here once again, and today I have a more or less philosophical argument about why I necessarily play FOMO3D and why I'm still in the P3D ecosystem. Now, there's a couple of reasons I want to go over, and I want to speak on it in an intelligent manner, just based on the experiences that I've had, the general sentiment from other people, and a couple of thought experiments that I've partaken in. So if we look at P3D before FOMO3D. Now this was the longest period of time. This is from the creation, the genesis of P3D up until this Sunday. So in that particular case, dividends were based solely on the volatility of just one contract. Only P3D buys, sells, and transfers had anything to do with how much dividends were paid out between its users. So because of this, if there wasn't anybody new coming in, anybody selling out, or anybody transferring tokens, the dividends stopped right there. That caused a level of stagnancy. There was times where dividends almost were $0 for me, and I have a decent amount of tokens. And this caused a lot of people to, start to lose a little bit of confidence within the system. Now, one of the major reasons that a lot of people lost confidence in this particular system is because during the clone wars, the first, second, and third clone wars, you could have possibly made a lot more money in the clones than in P3D. However, because of the way that they were set up, the developers, the people that were promoting it, and the primary ambassadors of those clone contracts, they were the primary beneficiaries. So they were able to get in a lot earlier. You saw a lot of pre-mons going around. You saw a lot of people promoting contracts before they came out. If you look at something like H3D, they promoted that for weeks at a time. And then when it finally came out, the contract went from 0 to 500 ETH extremely quickly and then dropped back down, leaving a lot of people, losing a lot of money. And because of that type of predatory cloning that went on for such a long period of time, a lot of people lost all faith in the smart contract space. So instead of P3D being known as a smart contract that took out the middleman, it was its own exchange. It was its own, more or less, currency, its own platform. Instead of it being known as that, it took on the moniker that it was originally memed as, and that was a smart pyramid. And they took away the smart a long time ago, and they just called it a pyramid scheme, akin to BitConnect and how that was in January. And we see how that went as far as the faith that any investor or gamer would have in this particular thing. And another very, very, very strong downside of clones is that they do not allow P3D to function as it's supposed to function. Clones, they did more damage to P3D and themselves than they did good. So the only reason P3D initially worked when there was an absence of clones was the fact that when the price dropped, people wanted to come back in, much like a cryptocurrency market, right? There was no alternative. There was no other place to go in order to get a lower floor, in a sense. That's why when you see ICOs coming out, people are flooding into these ICOs because they want to get on the ground floor. They want to get on it as soon as possible so that they can theoretically make as many gains as possible. Because when you look at the granddaddy of them all, Bitcoin, a lot of people feel like they missed the boat. And when we got to that 19,500 range, and even when we were dropping down above 10,000, clones were in this particular time period. And because you can get in those contracts with much less money, it was a lot more attractive to people. So imagine you only had $100. At one point in time, that was only maybe 15 P3D at most. In the clones, you could have gotten thousands of tokens. Now, albeit these tokens are in a smart contract system that is more or less trash, in a sense, one that really doesn't have any type of legitimacy to it, you still had thousands of tokens. Now, this was used a lot in December with coins like ADA, Tron, and Verge getting a lot of attention because they were so cheap, in a sense. They were very low as far as you could put in $100 and get thousands of tokens. And mentally, it doesn't really make sense because they had very high market caps. But subconsciously, and how we felt about it was a little bit different, because I saw a lot of people saying, oh, if Tron goes to $1, I'm going to be a millionaire. Not happening. And we saw that when the clones came into FOMO3D, P3D, excuse me. And the cloning and the dividends slowing down, this all resulted in a loss of confidence. Now, there was a marketed change in the amount of confidence that came about when we first started talking about FOMO3D as far as the release of the testnet 1 and the testnet 2. Now, leading up to that, there was a despair period. So if we look at the chart here, you see that we got up to around 19.5K, right? And this was quite a while ago. And then you see this marketed drop here as we see a lot of people lose confidence in the contract. This was the first Clone Wars here. You saw proof of week math going up to 4,000 ETH in the contract, and then you saw another large dip. And it kind of smoothed out at that point. The clones kind of disappeared and we were able to recover to a certain degree. And then you saw more clones come out. Boom, 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 boom. And around this time was when the first FOMO3D announcement was made. It was saying that it would come out sometime in mid-May around this particular point right here. And that's when you saw YouTubers coming back into the space talking about it. You saw more people promoting it because they had increased confidence in the platform. However, it got pushed back and back and back. And this is no fault of the devs. They were putting in a lot of work and they have a very small team. And to accomplish what they accomplished is nothing short of amazing. But in any case, people are impatient in the crypto space. So you saw us drop even more and more and more. So when we saw the first testnet being released, which was, I believe, June 8th, we saw a small increase in the amount of people buying into the P3D. And you see that little increase in the amount of ETH into the contract. However, we started falling again after that first testnet because it took quite a while before that next testnet, which was about 2 weeks ago over here, way over here, right? So throughout this entire period of time, people are losing, gaining interest within it. And when you're going through this despair period and you're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, it's very easy to get weak-handed. For myself, especially, I got weak-handed a lot during this particular time. But what I did was just turn off my Trust wallet and not look at it, right? I was just in the Discord, clowning around and trolling. That's what I do in the Discord. But when they finally, Team Just That Is, released the FOMO3D contract, it was an explosion of people coming back in, an explosion of people increasing their confidence within the platform, which is what you see here, an almost exponential rise, which is very different than this this sideways motion for such a long period of time, right? And when you think about it, P3D post FOMO3D, it is completely different than how it was beforehand. Now you have multiple revenue streams that you can come in and increase the amount of Ethereum in the contracts. Now, that is one of the primary reasons why I'm so bullish on both P3D and FOMO3D. P3D before, as I stated, requires people to buy, sell, or transfer. There's only so much buying and selling that you're going to do. Either you're going to sell off to you only have the strongest hands left, and if only the strongest hands are there, they're not selling anymore and they're not buying. They're waiting for buying pressure to accumulate more coins, because there's a certain point that people will just reinvest in their dividends in order to get more tokens, which is a very viable strategy, right? So now that you have multiple revenue streams, you have the slow, long FOMO3D and also the shorter, faster FOMO3D, the 1 and 30 second FOMO3D coming out very shortly here. It all depends on the gas price and whenever EOS decides to stop messing with us with F-Coin and stuff of that nature. So because of that, I foresee that it's going to increase markedly over time. Next, the ecosystem is virtually unclonable. They can clone parts of P3D, maybe they can clone parts of FOMO3D, but in the totality of everything, it's impossible, virtually impossible for somebody to come in and clone this particular system. The reason I feel this way is because it has 30 smart contracts simultaneously working, 75,000 plus lines of code, hundreds of hours spent testing the contract. And if you think another one of these smart contract developers who couldn't even make a lottery are going to come in and clone this system, then you're sadly mistaken. I've seen people mess up clones to the point to where they were breakable day one. All right, to the point where it was just siphoning off ETH into people's wallets, people were able to get in, hack it, and stuff of that nature. People was getting their contracts strained. All right. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, if they don't have the know-how, the technical know-how in order to clone P3D by itself, when I was able to do it using Remix, then there's no way they can clone this. And I'm trash as a programmer, right? And as I was stating before, this increased confidence is the reason why I believe that this has a lot of longevity to it. And one of the things that I didn't speak on before is the buying pressure that comes from having a larger pot. As the pot increases, more people are going to vie to win that reward. And because people are still going to consistently buy into the contract, right, the key price will go up. And as the key price goes up, regardless of the fact that there's more people in the contract, the total dividends will still go up. So it's more or less a balancing act at that point. So this will continue ad infinitum at this point. When I was speaking to Inventor, he was saying it takes tens of thousands of Ethereum in the contract just to get up to the dollar scale. And I know you have a dollar in your wallet. All right. Don't lie to me. I know you have it. Some people are buying 10, 20, 30,000 keys on a daily basis. So I believe this will go on for at least 4 to 6 months. I see no reason why it doesn't go that long. One thing though, I do believe it will slow down after a point. One, because of loss of interest in that long game, and two, because when the gas prices go down, I believe a lot of people are going to play the faster version of FOMO3D, which is the 90-second version, right? So I think a lot of people are going to put their larger nest egg in P3D and FOMO3D, and they're going to use their gambling money in the faster FOMO3D. And it makes a lot of sense, right? If you can win over there, you can increase your stakings in these other, I would say, more stable and less risky systems. And because this is going to keep going for such a long period of time, both the fast and the slow FOMO3D, it's going to be consistent volatility. If nobody ever buys or sells or transfers another P3D token, people that hold P3D will still get dividends. And that's one of the most important facts that people are glossing over. If nobody promotes P3D from here on out and nobody else hears about it, people that hold their tokens will still make money, because at the end of each one of these rounds, the dividends are dispersed 48% to the winner, some to airdrops, and then all of the rest to both the next round and P3D. So I think that's one thing that we really have to emphasize. P3D is the base system for everything else, right? It's like the computer, okay? So if I go out and buy a Windows computer, I'm buying it because I want to either play a game, get an application, or I want to use it for work. FOMO3D is like Microsoft Office, right? It gives a use case to P3D. It gives a reason for buying P3D. So imagine if Apple didn't have Microsoft Office at all, and you could only use PowerPoint for your job. Of course, you're going to go out and buy Windows, right? Because that's the platform that it's built on. Same here. As they add more to P3D, as far as the stuff that's accessing it, as far as the stuff that's feeding into it, it's just going to become more and more valuable as a commodity. And I think that the developers, they're not done with just FOMO3D. I think they're going to keep going and adding more to it. And plus they have an API that they're releasing, which allows other developers to go ahead and slide up in there and utilize the same type of metrics. So that is why I'm extremely bullish on the P3D platform. Okay. And the final reason why I'm very bullish on it is because of whoever at team just thought of this. This was beautiful. The fact that between 10 and 25% of all of the pot goes to the next pot is absolutely genius. This ensures that people will continuously play regardless. Even if there's a large drop off of people that's playing the game after that first round, if the first round goes to an extremely high, let's say it goes up to, just for easy math sakes, if it goes up to $1 million, right? If 25% of that comes back, we're already at $250,000. And the keys are only 10 cents. You're telling me that you're not going to buy a key for the chance to win $250,000 when that key is 10 cents? Human nature will not allow you to overcome your greed at that point. I'm sure that this will continuously happen over and over and over. And it all depends on how high this first round goes. If it has an extremely high maxima, the next maxima may not be as high, but it still will be high, and it's going to continuously be high. So even if the first round only goes for a year, the next round goes for 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, right? Something like that. That's still 2 years almost of volatility. Where else are you going to get that? So that is why P3D post FOMO3D is excellent, because of that particular feature. And I'm also seeing this consistent volatility. I've spoken on pot carried forward in the last slide, but one thing that ensures that we have volatility on a daily basis is the timer. Now, at the times we have now, the 20-hour plus times, you're going to see people buying keys, right? They're building up their nest egg. But as we get later into the game, people are going to let it fall. They're going to let it go to a lot lower of a level. But when we get to that 1 to 2 hour range and there's $1 million in the pot, that pot, the amount of people that are going to go into it is ridiculous. If you would have seen my last video where I showed the 3 different areas, you have that initial rush, then you have a large area of people accumulating and speculating, and then you have that final linear increase. That final linear increase will be because people want to win at that point. And I'm assuming that the keys will be very expensive at that point, at least $10 to $20, right? So this entire time that we're trying to keep the timer from hitting 0, we're generating volatility. And that's one of the major reasons why I'm very, very bullish, as I stated again, and the reason why I think there will be consistent volatility over the long. The pot carry forward I already spoke about. Master nodes. Now, because you get 10% of everything that person puts in and they're permanent, the shillers are already out in full force. I'm a shiller, I'm already out in full force. The people that haven't made a P3D video since March are back in full force. I've seen so many community contributors come back to the Discord, and as the pot gets bigger and larger YouTubers get in on the action, it's just going to become the greatest bit of FOMO that you could possibly imagine. And I do believe that as the pot gets bigger, this consistent volatility is going to become exponential volatility. That is why I'm accumulating keys now before the larger YouTubers get a hold of it. So imagine a Crypto Daily, a Sunny Decree, or even a Dog Poke. If they talk about this in a positive light and they shed exactly what I'm saying right now, all of the positives about this platform, even if they just parrot what I've been talking about in this video, hundreds of people will come into the platform. Hundreds of people will be buying Ethereum just to buy keys. That's even more volatility. So as that pot gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, we should expect more volatility. Now, I think that's a one-to-one linear type of relationship, a direct relationship. And the final point that I want to make is strategy. Now, looking at all of the Wikipedia, talking to people, thinking about it, sitting down in a dark room with nothing but Trust Wallet open, I still have not come up with a viable strategy that I believe will work 100% of the time. And because of this, the gambling mindset of a lot of people that are in cryptocurrency will start to take over. They're going to try to optimize their strategy each and every time to make more and more and more money, right? You give them a taste of a lot of dividends now, they want to make more in the future. Of course, they're going to sit down, they're going to have discussions with other people, they're going to form strategy groups and stuff like that. And the more that spreads, the more people start talking about strategies. I'm pretty sure people will start making discourse about it. There might even be pump groups, botting groups, or whatever. Everybody's going to try to maximize their chance of winning this pot. And in order to do that, you have to actually play the game in order to test. And because you're playing the game in order to test, you're adding another level of volatility. So, with all of that being said, man, it's very hard to find a lot of negatives with P3D at this point. I think the largest negative is the fact that gas is so high, but whatever, dude. That's going to go away eventually. Right now, I do not feel comfortable saying, yo, you have to buy P3D. It is the next generation. No, I'm not comfortable saying that. But what I am comfortable is saying that I'm going to continuously invest in this platform. I'm going to get more keys. I'm going to get more P3D. And I have a very long-term bullish view on it. Now, you can take that however you want. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just trying to provide my particular philosophical perspective on P3D and how it was before and how it was after FOMO3D. So if you like the video, you know what you can do. You can always hit that thumbs up, or you can subscribe to my channel, because I will be making videos kind of like this, a little bit more serious than what I usually do, because I troll a lot on the Discord. So sometimes I have to take a step back and really have a thought experiment and really think things through. And if you look at my channel, you see that there's some comedy stuff in there. So if you like any of that, then you can also look at that in your spare time. So this is P3D Heem, and I'm signing out, man. I hope you guys have a great one. Peace.